Ladies and gentlemen,
this is the one we've all been waiting for.
it's good night, freaking Irene! Let's get ready to rumble!
Time! And knows how to knock people the fire truck out.
You know, and I've been a fan of yours for a long time because
I appreciate
you have that it's kind of like the Vanderlei-esque of jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Like you're in there for a fight, and it you know, when I competed, like obviously I wasn't at that level, but I went in and I never went in to score points. Like, I was like, yo, in training I have to hold back. You know, here I do whatever I want. You know, and you went in to do that. So that being said, whatever you got to say, whatever language you want, I don't give a shit. Just be you. You know what I mean? So, DJ Action fucking Jackson on the show, Fight Chase podcast. So basically, what I like to do is I like to start out kind of like where your martial arts journey began, and I believe it kind of began with wrestling, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me to something else right before we really get into it is, do you consider wrestling as a martial art or is that the sport?
Man, I actually, so the actual definition of what a martial art is, because I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it the other day because I heard you ask the head coach of, I'm drawing a blank on his name now, the head coach of Tiger. Jeez, he's going to kill me. George. I know.
Yeah.
You asked George, and then I was thinking, I was like, I don't know when you said it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is a martial art? I think it's a martial art as far as what we do now. Like, I think it's a martial art because mixed martial arts, and it's one of the most important things inside of mixed martial arts. Yeah. But a martial arts is various sports or skills, mainly Japanese origin, that originated in forms of self-defense or attack. Like, wrestling is not really a self-defense or an attack. You're not trying to hurt. I mean, you're going to hurt someone if you're doing it sometimes. But it's not. It's not self-defense. You know, most martial arts are based around self-defense. Right. But so then a traditional definition of what a martial art is, no. Yeah. But I think it now, you know what I mean, it is a martial art, but it doesn't have any of the type of principles that martial arts have. Like, martial arts are really about also defend yourself, be able to defend yourself. If someone comes at you, you have to be able to disable them as quickly as possible, no matter how violently you have to do it, because that person is trying to hurt you and your family. Yeah. But even with that, martial arts kind of try to bring those principles of respect and discipline. Wrestling doesn't really have that. Like, it's just, with wrestling is, I mean, it's just you go, you bang, 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 and it's just all about competing.
All right, so let's get into it. Like, so where did your interest in wrestling start, and then how did you escalate into, you know, martial arts?
It's funny, my interest in wrestling didn't start. I was playing football. I knew I was going to be an NFL football player when I was a kid. I loved football. Then I went to a really good high school named DeMatha Catholic High School. In the 9th, after football season, I was really bored. I was like, man, I have to do something. And so I went out to try out for the basketball team. I got cut so fast that I was able to also try out for the wrestling team. And with wrestling, it's you work hard, no matter tall, short, fat, ugly, skinny. If you work hard, you're going to get what you put in. Yeah. Basketball and football, if you don't have a certain athletic body type, and sometimes you can build that, but also sometimes you can't. And so with wrestling was something that I saw I could do, and I only did it to stay in shape for football. And I was really bad at it my freshman year, really bad at it my sophomore year. But after my sophomore year, I hate losing. And so I was like, man, I kind of switched my focus from my sophomore to my junior year, and I wrestled year round with one of the coaches, Jason Gabrielson in Maryland. We wrestled year round, and I wrestled year round for those 2 years. And man, he put so much helped me a lot. And my school was at one point in time #1 in the nation for wrestling, like in 97, 98. That coach was still there, and we had national prep champions. We had like the highest level guys, and they would just beat the crap out of me. And it was just like, they just beat me until I was good. And it's just like, you're either gonna start working and get good, or we're gonna keep beating the crap out of you. Mm-hmm. But it is bad for wrestling and for all martial arts. This is what it is. You can't just let someone be lazy. Like, if you care about them and you see them being lazy and not working, it's like, and you like, why? If you care about me, you have to do that to me. So someone else does not. And
exactly.
So I got really good. I got pretty good my junior year, and then my senior year, I placed in a state, almost placed at nationals, and then got a scholarship to college. And that was pretty rare to only wrestle 4 years, start in high school, and get a scholarship. It's not pretty rare; it happens, but most guys start wrestling early. Yeah. But I got a scholarship to college, wrestled 2 years. I came home. I was going to transfer to another college in California, and I Googled online. I was like, wrestling clubs near me, and me and my best friend, who always wrestled together since high school, like, hey, we got a wrestling clubs near us, and Lloyd Irvin Martial Arts came up. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because if another gym would have came up, we were going to that other gym. Right. We seen fighting. We didn't really care about fighting, and so Lloyd Irvin Martial Arts, we went to the gym. We trained in the wrestling class. We're like, oh man, this is great. And so the wrestling coach knew we were good. And at that time, they were training for Nogi Worlds. And so 2 college wrestlers training for Nogi Worlds. We were walking out the gym, and the wrestling coach introduced us to Master Lloyd Irvin. And he's like, hey, do you mind helping some of the guys right now? We're like, sure. He's like, okay, it was a guy named Brendan Rady. He's like, okay, you 2 guys are going to wrestle with Brendan. Whenever one of you gets tired, the other one's going to come in. And we're 2 years, we were really good at this point. So, I didn't really know. I was like, man, I'm not going to get tired. Right. I kind of looked, I was disrespectful. Tired? What are you talking about? I'm not going to get tired. Wrestling, I'm not going to get tired.
Yeah, wrestlers don't get tired.
But he was far out of wrestling. If 2 college wrestlers came in and Shark Tank me right now, they're going to beat the crap out of me too. Yeah. So we beat the crap out of him. And we're like, oh man, this is easy, you know? And so he's like, hey, do you mind helping the other guys out too? Sure. All right. And so it was Ryan Hall, Seth Smith, Mike Easton, all tiny guys. And we're strong. We're both short, but strong, athletic, and very confident. And I would take them down. The first time it was, I take them down within a millisecond. And it was I was mad. I was like, what is this? And he's like, oh, sorry. If it hurts, just tap. I get a takedown, tap. Get a takedown, tap. Get a takedown, tap. Over and over and over again. It didn't really drive me insane until the ride home, because I was like, I'm taking these guys down. But then on the way home, I'm like, they're killing me though. I'm taking them down, but I'm dying. And they're all people that, if I were in a club or a bar or walking down the street, I would know 100% sure I would beat especially back then, I would beat the crap out. In my head, I'd beat the crap out of Ryan Hall. Yep. He'd have killed me. He'd killed me. There's nothing I could do about it, because I did not know jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And so me and my best friend were like, hey man, we have to learn this. If these small, frail, they look frail, but non-athletic people can do this to us, and we learn it, man, we can be really good at it. And that's kind of how it started. And then I love competing too. So I did my first competition about a month into jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It was, I forgot the name of the competition, but I won the intermediate division with a month training, takedown, 2-0. Every single match was 2-0. And then I didn't have a gi to compete in yet, because I only had that really ugly white intro gi at the house. Yeah. And so my dad was with me, and he was like, man, that was good. You know what I mean? And so we see the gis up, and there is an Atama stand. and I bought a bright red atomic gi. I didn't know what that meant, you know?
Right.
I also was in my wrestling stance in the gi. I shot a double leg from about a mile away, and he guillotined me within 10 seconds. Yep. So I went from winning I was like, yeah, I won my first tournament, you know, to, oh my God, I'm a first round clown. Like what? And so I skipped, as I was going to community college at the time, I skipped class that Monday, went in the morning to the basics class with my red gi on. They teased the crap out of me. They're like, oh, look who's the man now. And I was like, man, I cannot get guillotine. I was like, Master Donnie was the name of the instructor. I was like, I can't get guillotine. Like, help me defend guillotines. And he helped me defend guillotines, and I've never been guillotined in competition again. But I was so upset at that. And he helped me. We would do stuff. He'd help me do stuff. But it was a lot of beatings that is how it goes.
Yeah, like when I started, like when I would compete, I would catch guillotines on a lot of people because, you know, in Vegas we had a lot of wrestlers, younger kids, and I was just starting, so they would all shoot. And I trained with all the MMA fighters, so I would have a good guillotine, and I was like, oh yeah, I got it, and just jump right in, and like I'm not letting go. And I used to call it the wrestler molester.
Yeah.
And the wrestler molester.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
A great guillotine too, and he would do. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then it was like, and then after that, once you get into people that know wrestling and jiu-jitsu, I was like, oh shit. You know, you get into those guys that you're training with, you slap hands, you know they're just gonna grind the shit out of you, and you know, and shoot a double leg through you. And that's who I started training with, is like, because like my game in jiu-jitsu is half guard. It's not real technical, you know. I go back to like what I learned and what I'm comfortable with, kimuras, guillotines, you know, in the gi, like baseball chokes and stuff like that. But I'm short. I don't throw up triangles. Like I'm barely ever doing arm bars.
I consider that technical though, because for us being short, stocky guys, it's silly for me to be on my back trying to triangle somebody.
Exactly.
They're gonna beat the crap out of me. But when I get the half guard, I'm blocking the hip, I'm under the head, I'm driving shoulder pressure.
Yes.
If everything's right, I smash half guard. It was to the point for a long, like still now, like I remember fighting Clark Gracie in the black belt finals of No-Gi Worlds. My first year as a black belt, I smashed half guard, and I was in my head, I was like, I won. I put my shoulder pressure on, his legs opened up, I passed. I only won 3-0, but I won.
Right.
I was like, yeah, you're not getting, and Clark Gracie is high level. It's hard to tap those guys.
Right.
And once I smash half guard, you're not getting out. It's like, because I don't want to deal with being in an omoplata all day. And if I don't keep attacking you, keep getting to position. If we go to an even position, he gonna plot me right away. So work, smash half guard, shoulder pressure, pass. Yeah.
All right, real quick, I have a story, and man, so this was back when in 2013 you were at Gi Worlds, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have this crazy story, and I'm 99% sure it was you. And we were in the acai line. And I don't know, it might not have been you, but I thought one of my friends said it was you. Obviously, this is way long time ago. We're standing in line, and I believe you, or the person I thought was you, was standing in front of us and had Beats headphones on. Okay? And then somebody walked up, a Brazilian walked up. No, is it really you? Was it you?
Keep going.
So, a Brazilian walks up and says, yo, those are my headphones.
That's me.
And you turn around and like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he said, no, those are my headphones. There's a piece. I remember this like clear as day. And he's like, there's a piece missing. And I'm like, what the fuck? And my buddy was like, yo, they're both black belts. And I'm like, whoa, and nobody said shit. And then so you were going back and forth. So yeah, go ahead. I'm so glad it was you.
Oh my
go
God.
ahead.
I completely forgot about this story. So we had a really big team. and there was a guy named Pete O'Neill. Me and Pete O'Neill are still friends. Like, we're still cool. He gave me his he gave me his headphones because he left. He left and went away. He was like, and when you leave, he's like, hey man, just go keep it, you know? And so I'm wearing them. And then when we're at the tournament, the guy is sitting next to him, and Pete's like, man, I want my headphones back. And it's like, whoever that guy was, I don't know who that guy was, but that guy was like, what do you mean you want your headphones back? He's like, man, DJ has my headphones. He's like, DJ has your headphones? What, you give them to him? And then Pete said no. And so he was helping his friend.
Right.
He came like, no, get the fuck out of here. And I told Pete, man, if you want your headphones back, I'll put them back where I found them, and you can fucking fly back to Maryland and get them.
Okay.
I was like, it's been, because at that time it was a long time, and then it was just one of those things where he was upset about losing to one of our teammates. And then you remember the Arthur Walcott, the black guy? Because I remember he got my friend came in and tried to. I was like, no, stay back. And it ended up
I remember the whole thing, and I swear they were they were red.
Yep, red with they were red with no
They were missing the battery thing.
Yeah, missing the battery holder. Yep. And it was so bad. I bucked the guy. I was like, man, what are you talking about? We went out. I was like, man, let's go talk to the cops then.
No, I remember the whole deal. Yeah.
The cops were like, who came with whose headphones are they? He was like, mine? It's like, no, they're not. He's like, how did he get your headphones if they're yours? He's like, I came with these headphones here. I flew from Maryland with these headphones. These are my headphones.
We followed you outside.
Yeah, possession is 9/10 of the law. I was like, man, these are my headphones. And so it was like,
it's hilarious. Yeah. I've always thought, that had to be DJ. And
it was me. And so the only time it wouldn't be me is if, Alec Balding.
I think, it sounds familiar.
He's just another short guy, and I've been confused for him before. And so that's why at the beginning I wasn't sure, but that was me.
We were standing literally right behind you, and he came up and got in your face, and I'm like, are two black belts are going to street fight? What the hell's going to happen?
I fight MMA, so I don't know if I fight well, but I'm like, we ain't gonna do no jiu-jitsu now. I'm not. If you want to fight me for something that's not yours, you can, but it's not gonna end the way you think. I'm not gonna take you down and smash that car, bro.
You said you want to go the fuck outside, and I was like, they're really gonna go outside.
Man. So I'm much better now with my temper and stuff like that. But PG County, Maryland, is kind of a dog-eat-dog world. If someone comes at you, like here in Thailand, it's easy. If someone disrespects you, you can let it go, and it just kind of dissipates. In PG County, if someone disrespects you, they're like, ooh, they're gonna do it again and again and again and again and again. And so the first time someone did, I was like, no, like I will fight over that, 100%. And I would have been wrong for fighting over that, but at the time I didn't know that. Now I know, I've grown, but I wasn't, I'm competing. I wasn't expecting some dude who I'd never seen before to be like, you have my headphones. Who are you, sir?
Yeah.
I've never seen you in my life.
And the acai line, I remember that shit. That's hilarious. All right, I had to get that story out because I've told it so many times, and I was like, I don't know if it was DJ, but here's a story, and people are like, that's insane, and I'm like, we wanted to see what would happen, we wanted to see
there are cops everywhere. I mean, not everywhere. There are cops at every door. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you even doing right now?
And then I'm thinking, what happens? We're all fighters in a way, right? So what do? We go, we'll go out to a mat.
Yeah. I mean, so if a fighter wants to fight me, all right, hey man, we can go to the gym, we can put gloves on, mouthpiece in, let's get it out. And we can, if you didn't be like, hey man, let's hop in the car and we're gonna drive to this gym, and I'm like, I'd have been in the car immediately or called the Uber. I'm like, let's go. Get my mouthpiece in, gloves, and if I get my ass beat, Yeah, you got your headphones.
Yeah, right.
But that's just, I don't know. With fighting is different. I don't even feel like. But fighting in the gym is. I don't like fighting. I don't fight at all outside of the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if someone wants to fight, we can go into that cage behind you, glove up, mouthpiece in, Vaseline. You can get the energy out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get all that negative energy out, and then most of the time you go back to being friends.
Yeah,
it's like usually it's a misunderstanding, something stupid, and then now you're back to being friends. But you fight outside. I don't know who he knows or who he don't know who I knows. Like someone comes up behind you, and now everything escalates, and now that's not the type of stuff you never want to put yourself in a situation like that.
And that's something that I learned, like just again, just training even from the beginning. Once you start, like you were saying before, as you're a high level wrestler and you go into a jiu-jitsu gym, you see these guys that look like dorks.
Yeah.
They're like little scrawny dudes. They're competing at 150 pounds. You're like, get out of here, I'd smash you. And then they could fuck you up.
Man. Yeah.
But at the same time, once you're acquiring that same knowledge and you go into a situation, like I lived in Vegas, I would go into clubs or bars, and you always got those yahoos that have, the pool muscles, fake tan, all that bullshit, and they're getting rowdy. And I fought a lot when I was younger. I grew up in upstate New York in the city, and we would get in fights all the time, and it was like cool. And once I realized, when I stepped in the gym and realized I didn't even know how to fight. Like I was like, how the fuck did I not get killed?
Exact same thing, man. Like I was like, man, I should be dead right now. Like I'm out here. I thought I knew how to fight, and I couldn't fight my way out of a paper bag.
I couldn't throw a punch. When I learned how to throw a punch, I was like, holy shit! How did I not get killed? And but then like,
now,
go ahead.
Now I kind of feel like if I do fight anybody outside the gym, I'm a bully. Mm-hmm. Like I'm too high level. It's not worth it. If I want to fight somebody, I'll go, Mark, man, I need to get some fucking energy out. Let me move, and I can fight someone who knows how to fucking fight. I don't want to play chess with someone who's never played chess before. It's the most boring game of chess you ever played. You checkmate them, and it's over.
Thailand is super easy. Thailand, like I've gone by myself in the middle of the night and walked down any street in Bangkok, and I've never had an issue. Like I walked all over Pattaya, never had an issue in Thailand. And when I lived in Vegas, you get people like, man, there was all the drugs and all that shit. Like people talk shit all the time, but once you realize you 99% in your head, you could fuck them up.
Yeah, so it's not even worth it.
It goes away. That whole stress. I don't know if that you carry yourself different or something, but it's just like you don't get messed with as much, and you you're like, even if I do.
You hit me, it'll be the worst mistake of your life. You won't even. I'm not gonna let you hit me, man. I'm like, hey, man, please stop. But if you want to, I'm gonna back up and, man, I've been an 808 guy yelling, like he wanted to, like, because I was with somebody, he grabbed her, and then I grabbed him and pushed him. Yeah. And then he had all his friends. I'm with my Muay Thai friend, like, let's go. We have to leave now. Because if you get in an argument in the club, you leave the club. Right? And you either gonna, and I don't want to fight in the club. I don't want to ruin everyone's night like that. Like I'm just, and in my head, I'm like, you picked the wrong person. I'm like, no, you picked the right person, because I have too much respect for myself to put myself in that situation.
It's easy to see people out there just acting wild, and then you're kind of like, you deserve all the shit you're about to get, like from whoever else you're picking on. Just go do that shit. When I started training and like, because I was not the best kid growing up, like I wasn't bad, but when I got in my teenage years, I hung around with the wrong people. I did the wrong shit, and I didn't get into martial arts till later. But then it really changed me. You kind of realize you don't have to do that shit. You don't have to impress nobody. I
think everyone should train jiu-jitsu, because I'm the exact same way. And man, you used to be in IHOP laughing with your friends talking about a fight, and now I'm like, if I'm at IHOP and I hear people talking about it, I'm like, man, you're like the grossest, dumbest idiots in the world. Like, first thing, because what's the best that can happen is that You're at IHOP and you have a story to tell. It's the best that can happen
Yeah.
from a street fight. Worse, someone's gonna shoot you in the head.
Yeah, or you kill somebody, you know, on accident.
Yeah. So it's not
because you don't know what you're doing, you know. You don't know how to control the situation. That's the thing. The same thing is, it's like I teach Muay Thai here, and we have a jiu-jitsu program. I teach it at Henzo Gracie School, and I'm like, every kid should train jiu-jitsu. Every kid, for confidence, for self-defense, and then we had the kids Muay Thai program, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell you this: jiu-jitsu is self-defense, 100%. You control the situation. You don't get hurt. You can impose your will if you need be. You stop what's gonna happen to you. Muay Thai is not that. Muay Thai is self-offense. I'm gonna fuck you up.
as hard as you can.
I want to cut you. I want to make you just not want to be here. And that's like, so teaching kids, I hated teaching kids Muay Thai because, like, in Thailand, when they're learning Muay Thai, they're learning it for the right reason. Yeah. Here, they're learning it, and I always would tell them, like, you need to know jiu-jitsu first, so you have that discipline. So you're not that schoolyard bully that thinks that you know how to punch and kick people. Like, I won't teach you that shit. And that was a big thing. But jiu-jitsu, 100%. It changed me so much when I started training. I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. And that kind of brings me to the next thing is, like, your school, you had a very predominant school, Lloyd Irving and all those guys, you know, high-level guys. And this isn't, like, projected at you, but what do you feel about when people are like, oh, because I've said it a lot, is like jiu-jitsu schools become like a cult. You know, like people buy into a jiu-jitsu school and we follow a leader. And that leader, this has nothing to do with your school, but I'm saying in general is because I've seen it at a lot of schools, is that leader doesn't have the right thing in mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you're learning, it's weird. Like, if you're learning jiu-jitsu, the person you're learning from is usually, it's hard to not put him up there. Yeah. You have to remember that he's just a guy who's really good at jiu-jitsu, and sometimes he has really good ideas. Sometimes most jiu-jitsu instructors just say a bunch of crap and they pretend like they're experts on everything. But no, you're an expert at Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Like, that's what you do. You're telling people to buy this stock, telling people, like, no, man, you're a jiu-jitsu instructor. Like, but my instructor, everything that he did for us was just to try to make us be better. I remember my mom, when I was a white belt, she got so mad that I was training so much. She told me my instructor was going to manipulate me, this and that. I was like, he's going to manipulate me into working hard, building good work ethic, and being disciplined. I used to get so much crap from those guys anytime I told them about any fight that I had. They're like, oh, look who's the big guy. Look who's the big guy. What happened last time you fought Mike Easton? Oh, so you can't fight at all. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know? And in our school, we had something called like a bully buster program for kids. Like, if a kid's being a bully and we get that call, we find a bigger, better kid.
Yeah.
And he won't be a bully anymore.
Well, that's not even with kids. I mean, we do that. I mean, I'm sure you had gym enforcers.
It's not really a program. It's just self-enforced.
Yeah. Or the coach comes by and goes, that new guy, you should roll with him.
Yeah. I had to do it to one of the guys. He was such a good guy too, but man, he started beating. We have a girl at our school named Azan. She is a machine. At the time, she's like 14 years old, but her parents are big. She's big. She's really athletic. This guy's 20, but she's like 180 pounds at this time. Man, she is putting it on him because he's starting to roll with her like she's a regular little girl.
Yeah.
She's not. Starts putting it on her. Next thing I know, I look up and he's like knee barring her. You knee barred a 14-year-old girl? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Like, so we went. I put it on. I'm like, man, I like you. You should stay. But you have to remember that when you roll with girls, you have to roll hard. You have to roll hard, but you cannot do anything to put them it's like if I did that to you, every single day, it won't and didn't let go. You can't, you have to protect our teammates.
Yeah, the thing, I had the same situation as we had a kid that was military, good kid, good heart. He came in and he would roll hard with everybody. And we had the girls teams in jiu-jitsu is hard to keep anyway. Like girl fighters and things like that. It's not a thing that a lot of women are confident enough or feel comfortable enough to do with men, sweating and grimy and so we had that same situation as I had a girl, and this is when I really started to compete a lot, and the competition team was growing, and I looked over and he was rolling with her, and I kind of, at this point, I was good enough where I could pay attention to what else was going on. So you're kind of doing your thing, and I was watching, and he did something to her shoulder, and I don't even remember what it was, but I remember I stopped rolling in the middle of class, and I went over and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was crying, like she was hurt, and he was like, not doing anything. And I was like, "Yo, get her some fucking ice, go," like, and so he does that, and the coach is like, "What the fuck happened?" And I'm like, I'm gonna roll with them for the rest of class. And it was like one of those things is like, I don't care if you tap, that's fine. We're not resetting, slapping hands, we're gonna keep going. And at the end of class, he understood, like, he's like, "Man, I'm sorry, I fucked up," and he came in and apologized the next day.
They don't do it again, and other people if anyone else in the gym ever has that, everyone kind of knows. But if you let one person do that, then another person's going to do that, and now you're going to have a gym with no girls, right? Because and then, they're all getting.
Vanderlei's gym, we were a fight team. We weren't called like so and so Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. It was one fight team. So people would come in with that perception, like, "Oh, I'm coming in, I'm going to a fight gym, I'm going to learn how to fight." And Vanderlei was there almost every day, and we had, like, any Brazilian that was in town would be in the gym. And so you come in and you see that, and you think you got to show off for them. And like, I mean, Vanderlei would knock you the fuck out. Like, if you got, like, anybody, if you started getting, like cocky with him, he'll lay you out. But it wasn't, like, malicious, but he was doing that same thing. He's just cleaning his house. Just making sure everybody knows that, all right, I'm the big dog. This is why this is my house. And he was the nicest dude ever. And
sparring with girls, like, and been paced, working, not hurting them.
Exactly.
You think, and you're out there throwing overhand rights. And, I was like, if he doesn't do that, he's not a good instructor. But he is a good instructor, so he cleans his house.
Yep. Yeah, and I have the same experience like you had. I had a great first instructor. Like he just kind of guided me health-wise. Like, you want to cut weight? Here's how you do it right. You want to keep your mind right. And then we became really good friends because he had just come over from Brazil. And
who's your first instructor?
Leandro Lorenco. He came over to Vanderlei's. He was just a teacher, which was really cool. Is because when he came in, we had Vitor Viana, we had Sidney Silva, so they were competing, and Vitor was in Bellator at that point. So we had, like, our coaches would leave all the time, and it sucked. And when Leandro came in, it was cool because he was like, "Look, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher. That's it. I'm here for you guys. I'm not going anywhere." He would compete with us, and then he was also into judo. He was a judo brown belt at the time. He's a black belt now, and like national champion, all sorts of weird shit. Like, I don't know judo. So that was cool. Like, and then we had, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Like Diamante, what's his name? Oh my God. Ricardo Diamante. Ricardo, he was one of our coaches too. ADCC champ. And I hated him. Like, he came in because they wanted him to bring in new students. And I didn't hate him as a person. He was a good person. But he was ADCC world-focused, fighters only type. He beat the shit out of me every day with, like, no respect. And that was kind of like, wait, I get it. Like, you're bad as hell. He was your build, like, you know how when you're in the prime of your competing, how like Cyborg and all those, everybody was just big, that's how you had to beat to compete. And he was like that, and I was competing at 149 pounds, and he would just maul me, and I'm like, he's like, you can't quit. And I'm like, yo, you're killing me. And so that just kind of broke me, and I didn't even want to train with him. And it was like, I would start skipping training, and I was like, this sucks, like, I love it, but he's killing it for me. And so I went back to striking and other things, but then he moved on too, because he used to be Tito Ortiz's jiu-jitsu coach.
Okay.
In Huntington Beach. So he was out there, and he also was the one that told us not to train at Checkmat, because we would go over and train at Joao Assis's gym in Huntington Beach. We would go train there because we had another guy from the gym that was good friends with him, and he's like, no, because we went over to King's, and it was like the jiu-jitsu program wasn't. It was the same thing as Vanderlei's. Like, the jiu-jitsu program wasn't jiu-jitsu focused. Yeah, so it was like kind of like a pastime thing, because Rafael Cordero, coach of the year type shit. So it's like we would go over to Joao Assis's gym, who we were not affiliated with. It was Checkmat, but he would treat us like family, and he was a killer.
Same thing with me. When I'm in California, I train at Luke. My friend has a academy, but I train at Lucas Lecce's gym. He drives me to Lucas Lecce's gym. My friend is Jason Silva. He's a black belt. I'll train at his gym, but then he does his competition training. Him, his wife, and his major students, they go to Lucas Lecce's gym. Me and Lucas fought at brown belt. When I was a brown belt, he was already a black belt at one of the not ADCC, but World Pro things. He beat me by a few advantages, but man, I was like, how does he keep getting the half guard? It was only a ref decision. But he would go to half guard, I would knee cut through, he would turtle, and he would just be back in half guard. I'm like, how you just always here, but he's always there. So it's, it's hard to smash, man. And he treated me the same thing, treated me like family. When I go to his gym, he tells everyone how good I am. I'm like, oh man, thank you, bro. You remember, you're like better than him. But he's a real good guy. I love that. I like that vibe. Those gyms are the gyms that keep people coming back. Yeah. Like, he builds like that family environment, which I think you need for training, because if you treat people like your family, then it's kind of your second family,
Yeah. You look out for each other. You take care of each other, and you handle things internally. So once you got into jiu-jitsu, like, where did you go from there? Like, what was your first tournament? You started getting some submissions, takedowns, whatever. Like, what was the next level?
Oh man, the next level, I don't really, it just kind of, my instructor was real good at putting in systems, and I would just listen and follow instructions. I remember I got my blue belt 5 months in, which is pretty ridiculous, but it was because my instructor is really, like, he would not force me, but we would come, me and Sajar Eubanks, we're drilling partners. He's like, if you guys want to be good, you come at this time. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he sit there on his phone, this millionaire, and he didn't charge us any money for it. He sit there on his phone, look at his phone, he barely even pay attention to us, and he would teach us the move. Well, he's always paying attention to us. Every time we look up, he's on his phone. Right? But he sees everything. He's really
you do it wrong, he's yelling at you.
Oh, man. And he just would drill it 10,000 times. Like knee cut, Kimura. I'm like, Maxwell, can we get a new move now? No. Okay, yes, sir. Kimura. Maxwell, can I get a new move now? No. And you do the same thing over and over and over again. And then when I got my blue belt, it was because knee cut, mount, base, when they turn away, armbar. Me and Sajar drilled this every day on each other for like 3 months. And so at the white belt tournament, we knee cut, we went to mount, put our hands out like boop, 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 and then wait for people to turn. Every white belt turns away. Yeah. Armbar. And people are screaming, they're sandbagging, look at those arm bars. And I'm like, oh.
That's all I know.
When I got put in the triangle one time in that same tournament, my escape was to go out of bounds. I just, and at the time, like, they didn't really have that DQ thing. Yeah. So we went back in the middle and knee cut, pass, armbar.
Yeah.
But it's like I was a white belt, but it's like I was really good at those techniques because my instructor really forced that 10,000 rep rule into my head. Like if you want to be good at something, you do it 10,000 times. But that's not really enough. You can tell someone that.
Yeah.
But he made me do it. Like he made us do it. Like he put the times in place. We showed up, and every day. If we didn't show up, he's like, man, I'm doing this for free. I don't ask you for money. This is something that you want to do. Get here now or pay me.
Yeah.
Or like, this is my free time. That's incredibly disrespectful for you to waste my free time for something that I'm trying to give to you. And I understand that incredibly now, but man, he just kept giving and giving and giving. And man, people left the gym and leave the gym, and he just gives to the new group. Yeah, I got very lucky with him being my first instructor.
Yeah, it's like my instructor. He kind of he made me understand really quickly that some things work for you. Yep. Whereas I've seen a lot of instructors always give you like this week we're doing this week we're doing this, you have to learn this, you have to learn this. He told me right from the get-go, he's like, you're going to get good at some things because they work for your body.
Yeah.
Those things, get really good at them. Get really good. I was really good with Kimuras at the time. Get really good at them. Like, you better be able to get them from anywhere. All right, cool. I got it. And I mentally progressed on my own from that. It's because when you get tired of getting them all the time, then you're like, I got to try something new that fits. And then when you get really good at that, so you're progressing your game, but you're doing that. You're really hammering that one thing in. And he was also like, you don't have to know all of jiu-jitsu. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's always growing.
My defense to leg locks, still to this day, I'm good at leg locks. I know all the transitions and stuff. If someone reaps, push the knee down, turn out, kick out, and right back to knee cutting. Sit there and play that game with nobody, and then wonder why I got tapped at the end. Like, oh man, I did the defense properly. Oh, why are you even there? You're in a position you don't understand, you don't know. Turn, kick out, come back in.
That's the one I learned: is kick him in the ass and get out. Yeah, that's the same thing as like, because
big toe right in the and kick that knee out.
Yep, because just a few years when Gordon and all those guys started really, like, leg locks were the thing. It's like, I was doing them a long time ago with the MMA fighters. Like, they were already drilling that stuff, so I had been in those situations, and I was training with the guys at the gym, and they're like, man, you get out of these. And I'm like, I'm not staying. Like, I had it happen where I stayed.
5 times, I know for certain I won all 5 matches. If I would have stayed and played that game with him, he's tapping me. He's too good at that. Gilbert Burns is just as good as I am, if not better. We fought twice. We're 1-1. Gilbert Burns for Gary Tonin. Gilbert was kicking his behind, worse than I ever beat Gary.
Yeah.
And Gary just kept going. Turn away, Granby. Turn away, Granby. Turn away. Gilbert tried to jump on his back, left his leg, like it was a long, left his leg out, and now over. I was like, I'm not gonna be in this position.
No, I remember going into the gym when we were learning heel hooks. And this is like, mid blue belt type of thing, and I was like, okay, cool. And that was we had dealing with a lot of MMA fighters, so they were like, okay, well, you guys got to kind of know this. There's no ranking that you can or can't do it, so you're drilling it. And so we were drilling it, and I remember, I trained with all the guys that I was super comfortable with, and I remember this like clear as day as I went in, and I had a business in Las Vegas. I had a custom car business, exotic cars. Also, my mind was still at the shop. I went to the gym, started rolling with a dude, really good wrestler, muscle ass dude. Bet one of my best friends. We're going, and he grabs a heel hook. And I don't know why, but I took that extra second, and then I tried to get out. And I popped my own knee. And he was like, oh, shit. And I'm like, it was my fault.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I'm like, you touch it, I'm out. Like, we're not going to play footsie.
That 1 second that's all it takes. And you're good. It wouldn't have taken that 1 second. But your friend was good, so he caught hold. Exactly. A lot of people turn the wrong way, so you have to know which way to turn. And I remember being a blue belt doing it. So before ADC, the ADCC trials had an ADCC pre-qualifier to those trials. That just kind of dissipated away, and now you just do the trials. And I remember fighting in that tournament, and I was fighting a guy from Ryan Hall School after he left our academy. And Maslow saw the division. He ran upstairs, basically grabbed me by the ear and dragged me down into his office. And he was like, "You're fighting this guy from Ryan Hall School. He knows Ryan." So he's like, he reap, push down, turn away. That's it. He made me drill this on a carpet in the office for 3 hours that day, 2 hours the next. And then I tapped the guy with rear naked choke and we fought. But if he was like, if you get heel hooked, it's our fault, you know? It was never just my fault for doing something. We're in this together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give you everything. If there's something that I didn't give you, then you can look at what you should have done better, but also I should have given it to you already.
When you started going and competing at the highest level, like what's your mindset at that point? I mean, I've known guys that have done it, but you don't really, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I know how it was when I competed. I just had to compete. Like, I had to compete.
Everybody's different. I know some guys who can relax and chill and flip the switch whenever they want. I cannot. My switch has to be on. If I'm training for World, training ADC, my switch has to be on every day in training. And so if I'm training for ADCC, I'm not training with anyone. I'm training with Tim Spriggs, Muhammad Ali, people my size and bigger. Mm-hmm. You know, or even the little guys who are just really, really good, because I need to go. Because if I don't do that, I'm not going to do it in competition. Yeah. And I'm really in my own mind about a lot of things. And so I watched the Marshawn Lynch's interview with one of I forget what the interview was, is after he retired. He's like, "What's your mindset when you're playing football?" And Marshawn Lynch was like, "Run through a motherfucker's face." Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And over and over and over again. And then they won't want to be there. And I really kind of embrace that, you know, just you do it again and again and again and again and again. Like, I smash half guard, he gets out, I smash half guard, he gets out, I smash half guard, he gets out, I smash half guard. Man, it's at a certain time, they're not going to get out anymore. Right. Shoulder pressure, knee up, cut. Now, if I smash half guard, he gets out, and I'm trying to Toriano pass, then I'm going to be at a big disadvantage in that match. I attack. And it's attack the things that I'm best at. Sometimes you have to take what's given to you. If someone gives something to you, you got to take it. But other times, I need to get to the positions that I'm confident in, that I'm best at, because I don't know what you know. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're good at. Like, if I'm sitting in De La Riva, especially, thank God I didn't do Barimbalos when I was competing at those. But also, I didn't sit in De La Riva, but if I did, I'm like, man, I don't know. Of course, if you wait long enough and someone's good enough, whatever they do is going to work. Why are you waiting?
Yeah.
Go.
Yep.
It's like, if you're waiting, you're just waiting to tap.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's kind of always been my mindset. And but you have to know what positions you want to get to. You have to have your game plan. And when you have your game plan in your head, your job is to do that. Like, don't be like, okay, when I go out here, I'm going to wrestle, snap the head. He puts his head up, I'm a double. And then knee cut, smash half guard, pressure, bravo choke. That's what I want to do. That's what we're going to do. And then you get to the tournament, and then you're like, you pull guard. Like, okay, now what am I going to do? By then, he's already passed. And now he's on your back. All this crazy stuff is happening, but it's whatever your game plan is, whatever your plan is, stick to it.
Yeah. And how did, as you saw your level going up, I mean, obviously, you had to have seen some of the guys, the bigger names, like the Joao or the Buchecha and stuff like that. And, those guys are like the top every time. And you're starting to get to where you're competing against those guys. I mean, how did that, man, what did that feel like?
My coach, a wrestling coach, told me, everybody, no matter who you fight, 2 arms. Because I started as a freshman. Most of these guys would be, since they're 3 years old, everybody knows who they are. My own teammates are high-fiving the guy that I'm about to fight in the finals. I'm like, you know, like, I don't do that. I'm like, man, can you high-five me after the tournament, please? Like,
aren't we cool?
but everybody has 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
There's no magic. You just have to go. And I thought, man, I thought Andre Galvao. He was the first, like one of my heroes that I fought. I used to watch his matches all the time at blue and purple belt. You know, Fernando Tedede. But when I was in the event, like shit, like had to go in the back and listen to Biggie Smalls. If everybody bleeds, like how can I be afraid of someone who bleeds the same blood as me? You cut his arm, it's red. You cut my arm, it's red. How can I be afraid of you? You got 1 head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. That's it. I fought him. I came what I think is close. I lost by an advantage. And at the end, when we got back home, my coach showed me what I should have done. It was something that we had already worked on. I was like, oh my God, I was smashing him. And Andre has an incredible frame. He's just framing me in, and man, it's just everything is perfect all the time. My coach like, jump to the other side. But it's Andre Galvao.
Right.
You know, but if I would have jumped to the other side, he's either going to take my back and choke me, or I'm going to pass his guard and win. But I lost. So the loss is still a loss. Choke loss, like, it doesn't matter. The loss is a loss. You have to fight to win. Yeah. And it's something that I keep working on. It hurt. I was like, oh, and it kind of hurt too because I got so close and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Right. But man, he did one time. He collar dragged me so hard and jumped on my back. I had to spaz. I thought it was spaz to get out and ended up getting free and attack. And especially with someone like Andre Galvao, if I stop attacking him for a millisecond, I'm dead. Like he's
one of the guys. He's one of those
neon belly dancing around my back. I don't want to deal with that highlight tape, man. Like,
right? He's one of those guys. He's that gorilla age of jiu-jitsu fighter. Like he is just a monster. And like you see him come out and you're like, damn, all right. And you know they're gonna work. You know, that's like when you were competing. Like that's what you knew, that if I saw you go out, you're gonna put in work. It wasn't a point fight.
That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to always you run through a motherfucker's face. You make them not want to fight you again. Yeah. Man, everybody's really good. Like everyone wants to kill you. Like everyone wants to kill you at the beginning of a fight. Yeah. Like you have to have that dog. Like for me, some people, I think I needed to have that dog. Mm-hmm. Everyone doesn't need that. Some people like Keenan, he has the dog, but his dog is a completely different dog. His dog is like, but he has that dog in him, but it's just completely different from mine. His game's completely different. It's more loose and flowing, but he's still, you ain't never going to see him not doing nothing. He's just going and always moving to the next thing. He knows what he's going to do in his head before he does it. He's always moving, always going, always going. If something changes, he knows exactly where to go. But he still has that dog. If you don't have it, then it's impossible to beat somebody with it. Yeah. If they're the same level as you, unless you're just way better than they are. Right.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And like you were saying, is like, your coach is telling you that's another human, that's another man that bleeds. And that's something that I've always tried to keep and tell people is like, you look up to these people, but they're just people. How can you mentally put yourself down? Yeah. To be like, they're better. They just learned something that you haven't learned yet.
I think it's really good to look up to people on the way up. Like Tedede was my hero. Man, Tedede still is one of my
But did you look up to him or were you inspired by him? Was he like I don't feel that I can look up to a man or woman. But to be inspired and to aspire to be as good as them.
Yeah, it was inspiration. I was like, man, this guy's I guess you are right. Yeah, it's just, man, he inspired the crap out of me. His highlight tape. Remember he lost to Hodger Gracie and because he moved up to the heavy. Oh no, not Hodger Gracie. Fabricio Verdun. He tapped. There was a Petapano. He beat Petapano by 2 points, and Petapano in a Brazilian. He's a world-class heavyweight black belt in Brazil. He went on a Brazilian news thing, did a podcast like this, and was like, I fucked up. Teddy will never beat me again. I'm significantly better than Teddy. That's what he said. So Teddy went from his division at the World Championship. He went from middle to super heavyweight to fight Petapano. Petapano got hurt. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But middleweight comes in the super heavyweight division. If I'm a super heavyweight, even if I don't care what it is, I'm doing my division. Like, and you're a middleweight, but it's Teddy. Right. So he pulls out. Petapano, and Teddy gets to the finals. He gets choked by Fabricio Verdun, and then Petapano's on the side, like, yeah. And he's like, you're not even on the mat. Like, you didn't even have balls to come out. And he's dancing around, like, man, F you. Like, I'm out here fighting. You over there. You don't have no heart. And he's dancing around the whole, like, literally dancing around all 8 mats of the tournament. It's when it was in Brazil, you could do that. They all stopped and let him do it. It was just amazing. Like,
yeah, but it's one of those things, like you were saying, though. If a man bleeds, and I don't mind, like, the thing that I don't want, like, when I was teaching younger people, is I don't want them to think, if you're looking up to another person, that you can't obtain that. Yeah. You can't put them on a pedestal and be like, you can't, even if you look at, like, Jordan, I can't play basketball. But what if I put my best effort into it? May I be him? I don't know, because I've never pursued that road, right?
And so with football and basketball, I think there's a small, God gives people gifts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, so with football and basketball, maybe baseball, like, that's different. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you put the work in, you get the workout. Mm-hmm. No matter how. I agree. And I always say the mats don't lie. Like, if you're not putting the work in, the mats will not lie. We're going to see. Yeah. As long as you put the work in, you're going to get it out. Like, that guy's that good because he trains this amount of time, this amount of time, this amount of time. And there's not just training hard and sparring. You got to focus. You have to drill. You have to master the techniques that you're good at. You have to learn how to defend everything. And once you do that for 8, 10, 12 years, anybody can be that good.
It's second nature.
Shanji is one of my heroes. Shanji Ribero's game is timeless. Just don't matter. He's doing the same thing when he was like 10 years ago competing against black belts to now competing against young black belts. He's just doing the same stuff. His game, and it's amazing to see. It's just, are you ever going to get old? You're fighting 20-year-old monsters or 22-year-old monsters. Marigali is or Nicholas Marigali. He's one of the scariest people in all of jiu-jitsu. And Shanji is just, no, I'm not going to get old. Nah. Yeah.
When I started competing, like, even at the smaller tournaments, I would go my age division, my weight division, but then I also do, like, the adult, because I started at, like, 30, 32. And so they had, like, 18 and up at that point. I would always do them both. Yeah. And then it was like, I'm training with the same dudes.
We're just getting experience. The only time I wouldn't do that is if I didn't want to lose. But that's not why you fight. You fight to win. You gotta want to win. I hate losing, but you have to love winning. So for me, I'm gonna do both because that's 2 gold medals if I win both of them.
Right?
Like, but I don't want to have this 1 gold medal because I beat one old guy. You know, I mean, not old guy, but I don't want to have one. I'm like, no, I want to fight everybody. And if I lose to the young guy and then beat the guy my age, it's still what did I do wrong? How can I fix it? How can I get better? How can I improve my skills? If Megaton Diaz, if he keeps fighting the adult division and he's like Mackenzie Dern's father, fights the adult division, he's like 57 or maybe, and he just won't stop and he just keeps doing it because it is what it is, you know? He's teaching his daughter, his students, like, no, it's not about winning and losing. It's about going out there, fighting as hard as you can, putting maximum effort in. As long as you prepare and give maximum effort, whatever happens, happens. And normally you're good enough. Yeah. And then the only people that beat him are Bruno Mapasine, who's number one, maybe all time in that weight class, and Kyle Terra. He beats all the other guys in that division, and just those two guys he just always had kind of problems with, but they're just so young, athletic, and also so good. But
and that's a thing. Like I see too is you're in Thailand and Muay Thai. That's Muay Thai. Like you don't ask a Muay Thai fighter how many fights he's won. It doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
Like, if you want to know about their career, you say how many fights have you had.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that clicks. Whereas I think what happened with Jiu-Jitsu is we got that MMA American thing. How many have you won? How many matches? How many gold medals? What's the best you've done? Not, yo, I competed twice a month or 4 times a month for 6 years or whatever it was. Like, we don't accredit that unless you won. The same thing. I mean, you fought MMA. If you lose MMA, you're last week's news. You know,
Yeah.
it's so. But if you lose in Thailand, it doesn't matter. If you fought your ass off,
Yeah.
you're a fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
And it sucks because America is just like, and it's weird because don't you think Muay Thai would be popular in America? Because it's fucking violent.
Yeah. Yeah, it would, man, especially if they could take Max Muay Thai and put that stadium and make them fight like they fight there. I've seen the best fights I've ever seen at Max Muay Thai, man. It's absolutely incredible how hard they fight, how it's amazing. It's so much better than anything I'd ever seen back home, man. Like, because everyone's so high level and everyone is just a dog and fighting. You have the Laos people who, when they come, they won't give up. I've never seen a Laos person take a half a step back. I don't know how that is even possible. It's just like they just won't. And you have everyone in there just working and they're working.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a warrior culture.
Like you said, it's not about winning or losing. Huh?
It's a warrior culture. Like it truly is. Have you been over to the big stadiums yet?
No. Well, Max. What is the other one? Super Champ. And
but you haven't been to to Raja or Lumpini in Bangkok yet?
No, none of those yet.
Wait till you go there.
Those guys slowed down after Corona stuff, but when I can, I will. When I can, I will.
When you get in there, man, like you think like Max is cool because it's like such a production. Man, like Raja is so old school. The energy, it's something that you've never experienced. It's amazing. You know what? It was similar to, but even dwarfed is like open finals at Worlds. Like when the teams are chanting and they're speaking Portuguese, and I don't fucking understand Portuguese, but you're like, I'm in it.
Those used to be the best. All the chants, the checkmate chant versus the alive. Man, I am a huge fan of Michael Lange and Lucas Lepre. To me, Lucas Lepre has his jiu-jitsu is amazing. And me and my other teammate, he's like 20. I picked him up from high school when he was a kid, but now he's 22. We go over to the Alliance side during the Black Belt Absolute thing, and I was not upset that I wasn't in the division there, but I was like, I need to be out there, you know?
Yeah.
We go over, Alliance say so. And I remember one of the purple belts thought we were trolling them, you know? And like he got mad, but then Gabby was there, Gabby Garcia, and like, no, he's my friend. Like, we fine. Like man, I'm just a fan. Like, oh, sorry, man, if you think I'm disrespecting you, I just love those guys, you know. I love that chant. It's so loud, and then they have it's amazing. And if you haven't been, you don't know. It's hard. It's impossible to really put in the words, but. They tell you how amazing it is when I was home, and I was like, oh, all right, how good could it be? You know, I've been to a football game before. You know, it's like, how much could it be when you're going like, it's absolutely incredible.
I was like in 2013, Rodolfo and Buchecha. Yeah, and it was like, and we were over. Yeah, we were in the checkmat area, and they were like the stands are just moving, and I remember they're in the aisle. And a security guard comes down. He's like, yo, you got to move. And I'm like, yo, they don't even speak English.
They didn't stop at all.
No, they grabbed him and they were jumping with him, and he's like, I had it on video, and dude was like tripping out. He's like, "Oh my god!" And they were just going nuts. But it was like that energy is amazing.
I wish I knew Portuguese because those chants are so funny. Because some of those, I remember one time Atos when they had won their first world title, they were chanting, and then all the other teams chant at the same time. Your whole team is bald. Your whole team is bald. Right? But it was in Portuguese. So right. Like, what are they saying? What are they saying? I asked my friend, what are they saying? You're like, God, that's vicious. That's brutal. Like a lot of like that's not true, you know. But it's man, it's amazing.
Well, there was something like that going on when they went out for the finals because they were going back and forth like they do, and then all of a sudden, like one team stopped and was like, "Whoa," and we were like, "What did they say?" But when you go to the big stadiums in Bangkok, it's just that the betting and the energy that goes on there is it's like lightning. It's crazy.
I fights. Yeah, it's only like what $30-$60, but it's you see the guy. You see that there's a kid from Spain who fights in Max. I will always bet on him. I just saw him walking out one day, and I was like, and
that's
the other to win.
And it's like red, blue.
Yeah, it's like red, blue.
So, how do you react to like how Gordon and those guys are kind of playing jiu-jitsu at this point? Like, how does that
playing jiu-jitsu? What do you mean?
As far as outside of jiu-jitsu, like how the entertainment side of it.
I don't really so some of the things, like as far as the talking crap about someone else, man, these dudes are trying to make money. Mm-hmm. Jiu-jitsu is not a sport where you can make money. Floyd Mayweather was broke. He was respectful, broke.
He filed bankruptcy.
Incredibly good boxer. And then he started talking shit. And all of a sudden, now he's Floyd Money Mayweather, and he has a life. His kids will always have money. Like, people are upset at Gordon and all these guys for talking shit, but I'm like, man, I ain't mad at all because I make significantly more money from jiu-jitsu than I did before they did that. You know, I don't even have to do that. Okay. But now everyone knows what jiu-jitsu is and stuff like that. So it's like, how can I be mad at the guy for putting more money in my bank account? But it's like, and also how he's just doing what he doesn't actually. And then my thing is in person. When I meet him in person, they're always, it's always cool. You know what I mean? Even when I've talked shit to him online, he's talked shit back. But when we meet in person, he's cool. His dad, bless his heart, his dad was awesome, man. He was really a cool dude, man. And then it's just, people kind of, man, online's a fake world.
Oh, God, yeah. 100%.
So if you can use this fake world to make money so you can live in the real world, why not? And people get so mad. And I mean, I don't know. Like, just don't unfollow. If you don't want to see it,
exactly.
Unfollow.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm so mad at Gordon. What did he say today?
Yeah. You know exactly what he said.
Yeah. Hey, man, just like literally, if you get mad enough, just block or delete your Facebook. You'll never see it. It's not real life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so people get so mad about it, but I know it's not real life. The forums aren't real life. None of that crap is real life. Real life is what we do when we go, we meet people, we talk to people. That's real life, Yeah. People get way too caught. People like living in the fake world more than the real world sometimes.
Yeah. And I know what he's doing. I get it. I mean, Conor revolutionized that thing. Conor McGregor just, he's like, yo, we can all make millions of dollars off of this shit. And he set a blueprint out, and people tried to follow it. And I mean, you have UFC fighters that have gotten like championship fights just talking shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it works.
Yeah. The amount of money he makes from that, it's impossible to say he's not right. Like,
no, and I just wanted your point of view as far as like the.
I think he crosses the line sometimes.
Right.
You
Is
know?
that like the content more? Because I know why he's doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
I think there's
I don't buy into it.
certain stuff you can't say. So I don't even want to say it. It's so bad. But Dylan Dennis and Gordon got into a thing, and then Gordon posted Dylan's mom is really attractive, you know, and he posted a picture of Dylan's mom with like he photoshopped her into like a porn thing, and I was like, man, that's across the line.
Yeah.
Like, if someone does that, I feel like I can't go home and talk to my father if someone does that and I don't go handle that. You know, we can still go to the blue basement, Enzo's. You know, you can handle, but like, man, you can't talk about people's family and stuff like that. Like, that's across the line. But person to person, you know, like, yeah, some people get really mad because like Cyborg gets really upset at Gordon and some of the other people who talk shit, but Cyborg's respectful, you know. I'm respectful. Why aren't you? I'm like, man, everyone isn't the same, you know, and it's a weird thing because he's not wrong for being mad at them and pissed at them for talking shit. Because he's like, man, I have been doing this for like 25 years and I don't talk nothing to nobody.
Right.
And like, you've been doing this for fucking 6 years. You talking all, but he's just trying to make money. It's like he's not trying to wait till he's 25 years in to be able to be financially stable.
Well, just like you said, I mean, he made more money for you, and him doing that and kind of breeding that, being able to back it up is a huge thing too.
Yep.
Like, you
And
can't just talk
before
that
he
shit.
Before he started backing it up, I was kind of against. I mean, he was always backing up. He's always winning. But when he started doing it, when he went to ADCC and won, I was like, I ain't got shit else to say.
So he's doing that, and you know, he's making it so. I mean, jiu-jitsu is relevant, but jiu-jitsu has always been relevant to us that do it. It's not been relevant in the UFC. What jiu-jitsu do you know in the UFC? Like, you got great jiu-jitsu players. You got Jacare. You got, you know, Ryan Hall's in there. You got great guys, but you can't just jiu-jitsu. No. So people go, oh, jiu-jitsu, that's that rear naked choke thing. You know, jiu-jitsu is so much more. So when they do this, and he's exposed the drama, you know, to the world too, to the world and all of that, and people buy into it. And I know people just from the gym, and they're like rabid fans of his, like, oh, it's so great. And I'm like, from doing it for a long time, I don't like the disrespect, but I get why. Like, I'm not dumb. You're a business. You're marketing yourself. You're making these things happen. You're saying, I'll put $100,000 up. Let's go. And then if the dude doesn't take it, you're a bitch. And then basically, what are you going to do? Somebody calls you a bitch. You don't fight him? That's on you, you know?
Man, that thing with Felipe Pena was so good. That first fight with Felipe Pena where he's like, he talking shit to Felipe, and then they put all that money up, and then he went out. Them Bama's fought for 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then the whole fight was good. And then Felipe won that one. Gordon stopped talking crap about Felipe for a long time. Yeah. And then when he trained, won ADCC, right back on Felipe. They're going to fight again soon, most likely, but
he just adds that thing that people need, that drama that people need to get like invested. Because if you're just doing jiu-jitsu, like I said, you have to do jiu-jitsu to be invested in what a jiu-jitsu player is doing. Yeah. You can't be somebody that watches UFC and give a damn about jiu-jitsu because you don't understand.
Man, he brought so many more fans to jiu-jitsu.
God, yeah.
Because they're like, oh my, because they don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, this dude is roasting this other dude, like, and it's like, and he's just yelling back, and it's just. It makes people want to, like, what's going on? What is this crap? They look it up, and they're like, oh my. Then he's like you said, he's backing it up. Yes. So like, oh my God, now he killed that guy. And so that's why I don't mind what he's doing, because more people are doing jiu-jitsu, more people know what jiu-jitsu is. But everyone does a lot of hard work to build jiu-jitsu up. I'm just not gonna ever knock anybody unless it's like, so Conor. Like, his was good until he talked shit about Wayne. Like, when you can't talk about country, you know? Colby Covington has gone entirely too far. Conor has Connor confuses me now because I can't even watch his press conference. He's like, "Can I try some of your hot sauce?" I'm like, "Man, last time he's in a press conference when he's like, every time you get hit, you get stumbled, you get wobbled. I'm gonna wobble you and sleep you. And now you, hey man, send me your hot sauce." I'm like, I'm confused.
I liked Connor before the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He came into the UFC and he got mad disrespectful, and then it was like I just couldn't get behind it. I understand he revolutionized the money, and
but you think he would have beat Jose Aldo without all that disrespect?
no,
Like,
he is mental warfare.
Yeah,
He's not dumb.
Man, Jose ran in like sleep. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally depressed from a person that I've only met one time losing. And my boxing coach knew, both my boxing coach and my Muay Thai coach, they knew Conor was going to win. They're like, get out of here. Jose Aldo's the GOAT. That Jose Aldo's the GOAT. And Jose Aldo's an incredible fighter.
Yeah.
And after the Max Holloway fight, you see Jose Aldo has issues with taller, longer strikers. They could see that. I couldn't see that at the time. And like, so after the thing, I'm like, what? It didn't even happen. Like,
Yeah.
like,
And then it's kind of like, how good is Connor? And then it goes back to how are you, like, Gordon is backing it up. Connor never defended a title.
No.
So how do you get off being the best ever and all that horse shit?
I don't even pay attention because once you quit, kind of the Diaz fight, and the first one, the second one, I gained him a lot of respect for me because I was like, Connor's looking for his way out. Mm-hmm. And then I got shit together, pulled it together, had a good fourth round, ended up winning the fight. Yeah. And then now he got kicked in the leg, was it 3 times? He's been limping for like 3 weeks. Like
you could have swore it was like broken half.
Man, I mean, I know Dustin is an animal and he kicks incredibly hard, but like nobody kicks that hard. I mean, okay, sorry. Rod Tang, Captain. Some people kick that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's just good, man. It's still most of it's fun as long as you don't cross the line.
Mm-hmm. I think martial arts, even mixed martial arts, still has to have some respect. I mean,
yes,
and I get it, and just as a personal level, like I would never. I mean, that's just not me, and it's not a lot of people, and it does take heels.
I had a lot of shit talking with Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan. Like I fought Gary 5 times, I fought Gordon 8 times. And I used to talk, like the DDS killer. I beat them 8 times. No one from Danaher Death Squad would ever beat me. When I go to New Jersey, I train at Gary's school. My best friend trains there. My best friend asked me, what school do I train at? And I was like, yo, who's near you? Well, it's this guy. Gary's school is kind of close, but I know you don't like him. I'm like, what are you talking about? You think I want my best friend to get beat up because he's training with a subpar instructor because of something that doesn't matter? I'm like, yeah, you'll train with Gary. And he trains with Gary. When I go up there, I train with Gary. Nikki comes, Ethan comes, we all roll, we all train. I train in the blue basement. In real life, we're all fine.
Yep.
We don't take the fake world into real life. And now, when I went there, if the fake world, they F you, DJ, you said this. They're not that type of. They're not bitches. They're real. They know we're just trying to make money. It's not. And I only do it as completely a joke. And some people are like, and then people, man, I don't even like talking crap into the second it starts, there are thousands of Henzo people that, yeah. And I'm like, bro, like,
well,
you will die versus him. I was like, we've already done it 8 times. I'm still alive.
Well, you got people that just start and they find their mascot and they roll with them.
I'm telling you, it's the guys who don't even train jiu-jitsu that are the worst.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But those are the people who are watching, who are bringing views, who are making us more money.
God, yeah. But those are the guys that,
no one that trains every day is talking shit to high-level black belts. Right. If you think you're defending your instructor, he don't need your help. He defends himself every time he fights,
It's just like, you think about it. I mean, Affliction and Tap Out, who was wearing that stuff? Ain't no damn fighters, unless you were paying them.
I was until I started fighting.
until you realized, right? But that's the thing.
Shirt on there, like, who's tough? I was like,
yeah, but that's the thing, right? Is like those are the people that are backing that industry. You know, those are the people that are buying Gordon Ryan T-shirts. Those are people buying like the DVDs that want to get better that just started because they're like, there's that hype behind them, which is fine. You know, that goes back to the money thing. So I mean, we don't need to give them all the shine. So anyway, I had a question: is jiu-jitsu a match or a fight?
a fight, man. Like, I think it's a fight. I fought 4 professional MMA fights, 8 amateur, and I've been hurt more in jiu-jitsu than I've been. I mean, I got hit really hard in some of my fights, but jiu-jitsu is a fight. Like, I put my chin in people's face and turned their neck all the way here and had them almost like I broke wrists. Like, how can it not be a fight if you can get your limbs broken off? Like, I know there's actual punching, you know, but yeah, I've seen people getting choked out. The ref's not paying attention. He's still getting choked out. The ref's not paying attention. Man, they hold the feet up, and you're like, usually people pop right up. If they don't pop right up, I'm like, shit.
I mean, how many arms and legs have you seen and they're just like open?
Alex Info almost died. He's doing a jiu-jitsu tournament. Someone threw him so hard, but they didn't land on the mat. They landed like right at the edge of the mat. Like fighters, like, I don't know why fighters really say that, because I mean, I guess they're just trying to build fighting. I'm like, well, if you think it's not a fight, come fight me and see. Not only jiu-jitsu, but like, if you want to, I'll show you how much jiu-jitsu can hurt. Mm-hmm. Like, other people will as well. Lots of people will do that. Like, it's a self-defense based martial art. Like, the Gracies used to walk around beaches, slap you in the face, and then start grappling with you.
Yeah.
Like, I was training with, I'm gonna tell this story. JT Torres was on our team for a long time. He's the reason my instructor, like he was like the leader of our team. He's the best guy on our team. So my instructor's like, we need people to train with JT. I'm not paying money for Brazilians to come and train with him. So I'll make it was me, Jimmy, and Keenan. I'll make you guys good as, just so y'all can train with him. We need him training partners. But we were just like, we only heard good. You can make us good? Yes.
Yeah, right.
We train. JT's like, hey man, I want to wrestle like they do in Iowa, because he's training for ADCC. I'm like, okay, dog, yeah. And so we're going, like, boop, club his head, and he punched me in the face. I was like, bro, what are you doing? And then he's like, you hit me. I didn't hit you. You said you wanted to wrestle. This is how they wrestle in Iowa. And like, at the time, he didn't wrestle, so he didn't understand. Now he wrestles a lot more. He understands. But jiu-jitsu is a fight. Like, you can do everything as long as you don't cock this hand back. It's all good.
Yeah. Have you seen that video of? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Wagner really shows jiu-jitsu a damn fight.
Did you see the video a while back with the dude like full on tie kicking the other guy at the beginning of the match? It was like some viral shit. It was at like a major tournament, and it was in gi, and the dude like full on tie kicks the other guy. And
then the guy, he hit him and got DQ'd?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, it was, Herbert Santos does that crap too. I hate that. Like, I be jumping over his kicks. I was like, them things will put a welt on the side of your leg and you're like, you're not ready to check a kick if you're doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what you got to do. If you don't turn that knee out, it's gonna.
Yeah. It's and so that's, I mean, the thing with the fight thing, and because you hear like Rogan bring it up, and you hear like MMA fighters bring it up.
You know Rogan's thoughts on it? I haven't listened to Rogan talk about that.
It's not a fight.
Okay.
And
what's his reason?
Because there's no strikes. And I mean, he's a black belt, so it's not like he's, nobody, but he understands the concepts, and he knows what's up.
If there's no punching, it's not a fight.
So here's my thought on what his frame of mind is. All right, there's no punches, so it's not a fight. But in MMA, there's no headbutts. There's no groin kicks. There's no biting. If I have a fight on the street, I can do whatever I want. So how is it that, like, there's a rule set?
Under his definition, Joe Rogan's, the only real fighting is left way.
Well, even that, like, he doesn't, because there's no real takedown in ground fighting in lit weight. You could throw them and take them down. So it's like he has a rule set that he is defined as fighting, and it's kind of like, I get it, but you're still putting rules around it.
I just think it's not mixed martial arts,
right?
But it's still a fight. Mixed martial arts is it's mixed martial arts. Is you take all the fighting martial arts and you mix them together,
right?
And that's mixed martial arts. And then each one, I think everyone has a fight. I hate because then fighters say we had a war, bro. That definitely isn't a thing. Like, it's not a war. Like,
you're not dead.
You're not dropping bombs on you. You know, it's like, but it's just funny. I think everyone just gets kind of. It's just a funny thing, man.
And so, like, I mean, you've had wars. What was your toughest match? Like your toughest fight that you look back that kind of that did something for you? Kind of, however it did something to the trajectory of your training or your career or you as a person, or like what was a pivotal match that you look back on and go, yeah, that was that?
Purple Belt Pan Ams, the finals in 2009 or 8, 10, something like that. Because I got my black belt in 2012, but I got my black belt in 4 years, and I won worlds every year. Blue belt, brown belt. I mean, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt in the gi. Never won a black belt in the gi, and then no gi, blue belt, purple belt. Blue, purple, brown, black. And then at Purple Belt Pan Ams, though, I was winning the entire match in the finals, standing in front of his name, Will Durkee. It's freaking Purple Belt Pan Ams. I still know this guy's name. I love him and I hate him. I'm standing in front of him with my hands down. Like when I'm in the gi, you have to protect your collar. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes someone will just grab it, you can't get their grip off. He grabs my collar, he pulls me, he shoots. I'm like, man, I'm a wrestler. So was he. I just didn't know it. He starts taking me down. I turn away. He jumps on my back. I go to my back. 2 points. Ding! It drove me insane. Because he didn't beat me. Mm-hmm. I beat myself. Why the hell? Why did I have the gold medal in my hand? It was just the last 10 seconds. Here you go, buddy. There you go. I don't even want this. Here you go. Actually, I'm actually probably happy that I did give him that medal, because it forced me to it forced me to work so much harder, focus so much harder, train so much harder, because I was like, I can never feel that again. Mm-hmm. That was the worst. Crying in the no one could see me though, but I'm I can't let people see me fucked up. But I'm gonna get away, all the way as far as I can go. And then people walk by, you're trying to perk up, and that is what it is. But yeah, that match, losing that match really, really, really made me train so much harder. Best person I fought with. So I'm at a tournament in Texas. I'm watching Paulo Miao, one of them little guys, beat another guy 28 to nothing or some shit like that. And I'm like, and I'm an idiot. I joke, dang, that'll never happen to me. So I win my match. I win my division. I do the absolute division. In the semifinals, I fought this guy from Cyborg Academy and it was a really tough match. I had to pull guard. He's a real good judo player. I pull guard at the beginning. We work. I get up at the end, and because at the end now his energy level's down low enough. Now we can be on the feet. Yeah. And so I won that match, but Cyborg's in the finals. World Championships is 3 weeks away. In my head, I'm like, man, I don't want to fight Cyborg right now. I'm training for Worlds. It's a big dude. But another voice came in my head. I was like, stop being a, yeah. Went out on the mat. Cyborg grabbed my gi, snapped me down, and then 28 to nothing. It was. I don't even think that's that bad, because to me, getting submitted is bad. 28, I'm moving. I'm trying. I just can't. He just, at the time, he was ahead of me the whole match. He was just one step ahead the whole match. But you can't stop. If you stop, you die. Yeah. That is the thing. So when people lose by a lot of points, I don't really. It's hey man, for someone to score that many points on somebody, one, that person has to be good, but two, that person got to not move. I mean, if I could have just stayed in mountain and did like this, but now I don't have a chance at winning.
Right.
And so that's not what jiu-jitsu is. You have to fight, you have to fight, you have to fight, you have to fight. And it was just one of those, that match was one of the hardest matches I ever had. And I actually fought him years before that, and I beat him. So I thought, I was like, man, but he pulled guard. Like, he pulled guard. I was like, yes, I'm fine. Half guard, knee out. You know, I beat him by a few advantages. And then he was like, this match, like, I'm not pulling guard, man. You're too small. Boop. I was like, God, thank God. Why you didn't do this the first time? And so that match is good. Leandro Lowe. I fought Leandro Lowe. I'm talking all matches I lost, and it's terrible. But his guard was one of the most incredible things I'd ever. Because every match I lose, it's like, okay, how can I win? What do I have to do better? How can I? Man, I lost to him by a few advantages at Nogi World in the absolute. It's like, man, how am I going to pass his guard? I have no idea. His guard, he doesn't stop moving. His hips, man, he's incredible as well. And so, and those are just some of the toughest matches that I had. But I've competed a lot. Like you, I like competing. You know, it's not about winning and losing. It's about fighting. You know, I kind of hold something close to my heart, which is I've only been submitted once as a black belt and never in my division. Only person to sub me was Michael Lange, and that was in the absolute of a tournament in Japan. And also
baseball
Michael
choke?
Armbar. Yeah. And it was my first year at black belt, and that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. But Michael Lange, my first year at black belt, and that's kind of one of the reasons why when I fought Galbao, I was like, fuck, man, no. Mm-hmm. I had a rough match in so I fought a guy named, I forget his name, but somebody from Alliance had joined our gym. I fought a black belt from Alliance at Atlanta. And the guy from Alliance, like, I hate when people tell me what other people do good. He's like, hey, man, watch out for this guy's toe hold. Just hold it. Yeah. He's going to rip it. Like, if he grabs your foot, he's going to rip it off, man. Man, you watch out. Like, if he grabs his foot, he rips it off. And so when I fought the guy, I only won by like 2 points or maybe 2 points and a few advantages. And I go to the side, man. So I was like, are you sick? You hurt? No. What are we doing? Man, I didn't want him to get to my foot, man. I really didn't want to get to my foot. And he said, it's funny what he said, but it just stuck with me. He was like, it was Ian McPherson. Now that I think about what he said, like, you afraid of Ian McPherson? He's like, man. All right. He's like, if you fight Marcelo Garcia, you can be afraid. Anybody that's not him, we do what we do. And now I fight Marcelo. I'm going to do what we do. And of course he's going to have answers for it, but we need to see what those answers are. I can't just allow him to, just turn and be, and do everything, because it's going to be amazing. I don't want to be on nobody's highlight tape.
Yeah.
After that match, I really held that true. And later that tournament in the absolute finals, I fought Lucas Lepre, and I beat him by ref's decision. He threw me with one of the prettiest Sayanagas I've ever been thrown with. But my wrestling coach was in the side, and I was absolutely furious. So I got back up, grabbed his collar, shot a high cross double lift, doubled him, and then we're moving. It was just a really good match. And I ended up winning that match, and I was like, man, you all right, man? Like, I'm over here being afraid of it. A guy named Ian McPherson. And then I beat one of the best guys to ever compete.
Yeah.
But if I fought like I fought with Ian McPherson, afraid, there's no way I can win that match. I'm getting, not only when I'm getting tapped, because he is that good. But if you fight, you had a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing as like, obviously I've fought nowhere near like what you have, but when I competed a lot. And it was in my head is like, I got outpointed, and I'm like, you're a fucking point fighter. Like, you didn't destroy me. Like, you went in there to outpoint me. So you won the game. Yeah. And I was like, when I competed, I never got submitted in a tournament.
Yeah.
But I always went to submit. Like, that's all I wanted. I didn't even when I would compete, I don't know that I even knew how the points were. Like, I didn't care. I was just like, whatever, and like, well, how many, because we used to drill that, like, that would be one of the things in class. How many points is this when we were doing like tournament classes? And I'm like, oh, I'll just be quiet. Let me just get back to drilling shit, right? And so that was the thing, is like, well, I never got submitted. Yeah, I lost matches, and there was matches that there was a match that I know I should have won, and I had done a 5 grappling tournament before Nogi Worlds, and it was like 2 weeks before in Vegas, so I did 5, and it was right when 5 started, so it was like all the big guys were at 5, and I won all of my matches at 5, all of them submission, and it was like, I was like, all right, dope, I'm like, I'm ready to go, I'm good, I'm feeling good, and it was, Nogi there, and I went to do Nogi Worlds, and I'm sitting there, and like, I don't warm up, like, I just chill and kind of just get in my mind and stuff like that, like, I'm not getting all hyper, and this guy goes, oh, Kel, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what's going on? He goes, oh, I'll meet you in the finals again. And it was the guy that I had just beat. And then I go into my match, and I got smoked. I got outpointed. And I was like, fuck. And then so we're done, and the guy that I beat 2 weeks before won my division. Another guy that I had subbed in our division had dropped down a division and won that division in Nogi Worlds.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm like, I smoked both of those dudes submission. Like, there wasn't like, oh, you won. No, I fucking put you guys, like, you tapped. And I'm like, I couldn't have been here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But when we go, so I kind of look at it. If I'm trying to kick your ass as the worst I can as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned, I'm gonna score points along the way. 2 point takedown, crash your guard, 3, and so. You just have to make sure that the other, like, they're not sweeping and now we're stuck and then we're coming back up, and maybe the ref doesn't give us our points or some crazy. Like, I've seen a bunch of crazy stuff at Worlds, man. I've seen some of the worst decisions. I passed the guy's guard and had my team going 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. And the guy's like,
yeah.
Like, what do you do? You just keep fighting. Yeah. You keep fighting, and you don't give the other guy a chance. And that's kind of always what we do at our team, and always what we wanted to do. So the goal is to submit, but on the way to submissions, control the position. Yeah. So there's no chance of losing matches by points just because, like, man, I had one friend. I used to hate that he would do it, because we used to tell him not to do it all the time. Like, man, stop going for these ankle locks, man. He just wouldn't listen to us because he had a dirty ankle lock. Yeah. He could tap almost anybody. But when he wouldn't tap you, he would lose 2-0.
Right.
So if I mean, man, score more points and then do it if that's what you want to do. Yeah. But don't start the match and you're fighting a wrestler, you drop down to his leg, you can lose 2-0. He's gonna come up, get his leg back, and I'm winning. He's not gonna move. Because wrestling is points, and most wrestlers really don't. He's not even trying to switch. He's like, God damn, my leg still hurts from that ankle. Like, I'm not letting you go. Like, so we just have to try to get better so that doesn't happen to us as well. Yeah. And there's ways around it and stuff, but it's just, like I said, it's part of the fight.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I picked up after getting beat a couple of times by points is I was like, because I would pull guard or whatever, it'd just be more passive at the beginning. And I was like, fuck this. And I went with a wrestling coach. I was like, show me a double. Like, I just want to learn a double. And when I learned a double, like, it was a Nogi Worlds, and he was training at Zenith at the time, when they had just merged. And he was our wrestling coach at Vanderleys. And he was sitting on the other side of the stadium at the pyramid.
What's the name?
Pete Martin. He was training with.
Yeah.
And so, what's that?
I've seen it before too. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And so, like, he was like, all right, and I had him show me this, and I was like, and we were drilling it, and I'm like, I'm not a wrestler. It was just, that was what I learned, and that was all I learned, because I was like, I can't start out down. Like, I can't start out down on points. Like, if I'm gonna try and do my game, at least why don't I just take the points that I can get first, and then go from there. And we slapped hands, and I shot a double, and he came up to me later. He's like, yo, that was awesome. He's like, you just learned that. And I, like, blew through the dude. Like, I was like, I'm just going.
That's one of the best feelings as a coach, man. That's why I love coaching so much, is when you give someone something and then they believe in that something, and then they go out, you see them go out and believe in it enough to do it to guy after guy after guy. You're like, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, man.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I was yelling and I told Drysdale, I just showed you that a few weeks ago. I was like, yeah, all right. But yeah, and then it makes you feel good too as a student to go, oh, I did it right, and I made you proud.
But it shows like anything is, if you drill something, no matter when you learn it, you don't have, I know some jiu-jitsu guys with some really good wrestling because they drill their wrestling a lot.
Yeah.
JT has one takedown, an inside trip, and that's what he did to me at ADCC. And I'm just thinking about it drives me crazy, but I'm like, he drills that arm drag to trip, and then we're fighting. I stop moving for 1 second, boom. I'm thinking I started turning away, but I'm like, no, I'm not turning my back to JT Torres. Everyone who turns their back to him gets choked out. Even Lucas Lepre, Lucas Lepre beat JT a lot of times, but the few times that JT beat Lucas, he turned away on his back, fight's over. I was like, nope. Thanks, sorry.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I mean, it's been awesome talking with you. I totally appreciate it. Kind of just tell me, like, how did you end up at Fairtex? So now you're at Fairtex in Thailand. Thailand is not the jiu-jitsu capital of the world.
I mean, so online saying, my old teammate, used to be champion of 1FC, definitely going to be champion of 1FC again. He called me, well, after he left our team, he called me, he's like, man, I know you love Mary, I know you love training, but there's a really good job opportunity. I was like, what? Thailand. He told me how cheap it was to live, he told me about and I'd already been a few times. I was like, man, I love Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
And I trained at Phuket Top Team the first time I came, went over to Tiger, trained when I came to, and he's like, they need an MMA coach and a jiu-jitsu coach, and they're going to let you run both. They're going to pay well. And I was like, okay. And then so I did ADCC because I did ADCC and I was going to win ADCC and then sell off in my ship. I didn't win ADCC, but I sold off my ship, and I absolutely love it here. And then like the ability to coach the Thais is, man, they work so hard. So when it's just, it makes being a coach so easy. You give, I show Stan something and she just does it right. It's confusing. Usually you teach a seminar, you show someone something, and then you're like, okay, no, like this, and then you fix the mistake, you fix the mistake. I show Stan and she just does it right. I'm like,
yeah,
man. I trained with Ratang. We were joking, like, you can't stop someone from taking you down with like a tackle. And he's like, He grabbed, man, I was like, good God, never mind, I was wrong. And so it makes my job so much easier. So we have Stamp, we have Nat, Mark Abelardo is going to be fighting soon. Y2K is going to be fighting soon. And those guys, when they put that work in, it's just so, like, it makes being a coach really easy because it's not like the United States. Like, they run I'm trying to get that to stop. I don't want them to run every morning. But right now, they run, especially the Thais, they just have to.
Yeah.
Because, and it's also what they're used to. It's like when they don't run, I told Y2K and Mark the other day, I was like, because I saw them training in Muay Thai, and it was a rough session. And so at the end, they usually come to, I go into the gym early and I drill with just those two. And so they come in, I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, y'all got to go rest. Go rest, and we're going to get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Y2K was like, what? He felt like it was wrong or something. He's like, no, go rest. Go home, get some good food, get some good sleep, and tomorrow we're going to bang, bang, bang. And that's exactly what we did. And but they didn't even, as worse as you could possibly feel, he still didn't want to not train. Most guys like, go home. Okay. And they run away from you.
Yeah.
Go home. What? They're like afraid. Like, is this a test? Like, nah. Like, I'm like, no, man, you need your rest. He done ran 12 kilometers this morning. We did sparring in the morning. Then you did Muay Thai, and then you did more pad rounds in between that and that. He goes and lifts too. I'm like, no, man, go rest. And tomorrow we're going to rest. We're going to get it.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
cool to see that, because that's another difference with having an American coach at a high-level gym like Fairtex right now, where you have all those fighters coming out. An American coach can see something different, because Thai coaches, that's what they do. You have this regimen every day that you're doing, and you don't get a coach doesn't look at them and say, "Oh, you look tired today. You need to recover." They go, "You better be going, and every day." And it's cool to have a different point of view where somebody's looking out for, you need a rest day.
yeah, or we're not going to make it to the fight. These guys, I've done it to myself a lot. They're going to train, and then get sick. And now, because you break your body down, and then now you're dealing with that. And so now you take this amount of time off of training because you're sick. When if you just treat your body right, eat well, and rest, most people take that way too far.
Yeah.
The thing about the Thais and everyone here, I don't have to worry about that at all.
Right.
Like if I tell them to rest it, what are you talking about? Like,
you have to force them.
Yeah, exactly. It makes being a coach so easy.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I had trained at Fairtex before they even did the renovation, and then I went back after that. Like, I met with Stamp. I actually trained with Supergirl, so Wonder Girl's sister, at their house.
Yeah.
At their house. So I went to their house and trained with them.
How was that?
It's amazing, man. She was there. It was funny is because I didn't know Nat was there, and she was like in another room because it was right before a holiday. So I trained with her sister and her dad, and then she came out, and it was super cool. And I just love Thailand because, like, I trained at all these gyms. I've trained with Sagat. I've trained with Samart. I've trained at Tiger, Top Team. When I go, and that's what I do, is I go and I'll travel, and I just train at all these different gyms. Like, I'll go to a new gym, and even if I don't know where a gym is, you ask a tuk-tuk driver, Muay Thai, Thai boxing. Oh, okay, and they'll take you somewhere. Yeah. And I mean, I've trained at people's houses. I've trained at the biggest gyms, and it's amazing. And so, like, going there, it was super sketchy to find. It was like you walk next to a canal over like a little bridge, but when I got there, like, they waited for me. Like, I was mad late because of traffic in Bangkok, but their dad was so cool with me, and like, I did a whole. I just wanted to learn their knee. Yeah. And so they broke it down, like literally broke everything down with their knee.
I'm about to text them right now. I need to learn that thing too.
I did a whole breakdown on it, like a video and everything. It's really cool, and that was what I went.
Then I'll watch it. Yeah.
And it was awesome, man. But they were so friendly, and their mom was there, and their mom gave me a ride to the 7 when I was done to get the Uber or the whatever the fuck we used over there. I can't remember. Yeah. So, but that's what it was, and we were chilling at their family's house, and you get that a lot there, and you build like this thing, and it's like any of the gyms that I've stayed at, if you comment on their Facebook, they say things back. It's not like we do in the States, right? Like, there's 300 people say, "Oh, cool, good job," or like your post. Like, if you do that to the Thais that you've actually met and built a relationship with, they respond. And I have, like, I trained. Who did you train with at Top Team? How long ago were you there?
Olavo and Eric.
I trained with a couple of guys.
2 years ago.
Okay, I trained with one of the guys that fought Lion Fights in the States. One of the Thais, and he sends me messages all the time, like just random, "Yo, what's going on? How you doing? How's it going in the States?" and things like that. It's like, and I was holding pads for his little brother, and I was holding pads for Lordzilla, like, like, because just stuff like that. And
the only person that doesn't need jiu-jitsu has been Dominic Cruz. Right. Dominic Cruz, he used to tease us all the time when we be out there. He's like, jiu-jitsu doesn't work. Like, shut up. Unless there's a cage there for you to use to walk your body up, jiu-jitsu's gonna work. Right. Hey, he just space, create space, get on the cage and get up. And every time he says it, I'm like, how you create space? Oh, you shrimping. Where you learn that? Oh! Like,
so, even that, you're using jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I was like, you're just using it to get up the proper way. But I was like, I'm not saying that I'm not going to invert in an MMA fight either. Like, no one's going to do that. Just inverting it. Someone's going to hammer fish you to death.
Exactly.
Like, you just have to do the right parts of jiu-jitsu for MMA. I can't buy Jordans anymore because I see the exact same thing for $20, and I don't want to buy fake Jordans. But I was like, man, they look exactly the same. Like, I'm just gonna wear these flip flops.
When I went to Cambodia, I bought fake Supreme Louis Vuitton Adidas. I was like, because I always wear Puma Classics, and like they're suede, and I was going to Angkor Wat, and I didn't want my shoes to get all muddy, so I spent like $15 and bought these Adidas that look like like these fucking like $300-$400 pair of shoes, and I was like, oh, this will work.
I bought some fake Yeezys here because I will buy fake Yeezys because them things are expensive,
right?
But man, people who are wearing Yeezys are like, oh my god, those are nice. I've never seen ones like that. I'm like, they're fake.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You never know if I wouldn't tell them, but it's just like,
yeah, no, that's what's fun. And like, I mean, Supreme, like I bought a bunch of Supreme, like just t-shirts because I was like, yo, when I'm cutting the yard or something, you know, people are like, oh, that's just crazy. I'm like, no, it's a $2 t-shirt.
yeah. Just like, I just gotta like that dog.
Yeah, right. It was one of the first things I did in Phuket was buy a Breitling knockoff.
Oh yeah.
And people are like, oh shit.
It almost rolled all the way. It had just a small little hitch. But this, man, they do their fakes well, man.
Yeah. I bought fake iPhones in Bangkok. You could buy all the fake phones.
How do those work?
It works on Android.
But does it
works
well?
fine. Yeah, but they're shitty phones. But I lived in Vegas, so people want to throw away phones in Vegas. So I bought them. Sure. I spent like $25 a phone, and I was selling them in Vegas as clones for $100. So I was like, I would bring like 6 back with me. And I remember at Customs one time, she's like, why do you have so many phones? I'm like, they're gifts. She's like, oh, okay. All right, man. Like I said, this has been great, but I don't want to keep you too long. Couple of questions that I kind of like ask everybody is, what music are you listening to? Like, what gets you going like to training and shit like that?
Anything that with a high beats per minute, usually rap, but I don't really like the slow pace. It's got high beats, the hype. So like Bobby Shmurda, like, and it's just, as long as it's hype, I like it.
Yeah, it gets your blood flowing.
Yeah, stuff to get like that because man, I hate running. But I have to run.
Right.
So okay, here you go.
Yeah, you just kind of get through it. You got a cheat food? I mean, you competed a lot. You're a big dude, but didn't you have to still cut weight?
All the time, yeah. Cheat food. What's my cheat food right now? They have this place here at the market, That Crescent Market. That's not. They have one thing that's not cheating at all. Because it's the best chicken I've ever had in my life. Like this big red tent with the lady with their Muslim run, and so you just know they have that thing. And I had, man, it is the best chicken I've ever had. It's absolutely
Which chicken is it?
I forget the name of the place, but when you walk down on the left side,
like, what kind of chicken is it? Is it like the chicken on a stick, the barbecue chicken, or
grilled chicken? And it's not on the stick; it's just the thing, and they chop it up and put it in the bag.
Yes, that shit is dope.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
I would get the kebabs, and then there was a stand right next door, and they had that chicken.
And that's the good thing about Thailand. Like at the markets, like I like the pie. They have different type of pies there, cakes. You just eat everything. You know, a bunch of different stuff. Everything's so cheap, and everything is good.
And everybody's like, you know, I'm like, I eat twice as much in Thailand, and I lose weight. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's no preservatives. The sugar's not the same. It's not shit food. If you're going to some place, it's not like a chain. You're getting fresh food. Like, you know, they went to the market that morning. The market being like a parking lot that had fresh meat. You know, you're getting real food, and people are like, really? I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah. The only thing that I really miss my cheap food back home because I haven't really found sweet potatoes. Like my mom makes the best candy yams in the world.
Oh yeah.
they are like candy yams, mac and cheese, and flaming hot Cheetos. I don't know, but I don't eat those anymore because they don't have those out here. Thank God, because I knew it was killing me. My aunt told me it was killing me. I was like, I really like them.
That's like, but you go to a 7 and you see all the other chips they have, squid and shrimp.
I'm a little too nervous for that. I'm like,
I haven't tried it. I look and I'm like, yo, that's just crazy. And there's like 30 different flavors of chip.
I seen a flavor of chip that made me not want to. Like I was hungry, I was starving, and it was like mayonnaise and fish flavored. I was like,
I have pictures. I took pictures of all the crazy chips and I sent
I
them to my
wasn't
friends.
hungry for when I saw that. I was like, that looks disgusting. I'm just walking away. It probably tastes delicious though, but I don't know. I'll never know.
But that's like the aisle of seaweed, and you're like, what the fuck? Like a whole aisle of seaweed. You're like, all right. What's your go-to movie? Like if you had one movie. One movie, like that either gets you going or is like get your spirits up or whatever it is.
There's a few that come to mind. Pulp Fiction. Yeah, the only other one that I really, really, really like is How High. Redman and Method Man did a movie named How High. Those are two of my favorite movies. But if it was one, it's Pulp Fiction.
You could watch that all day.
I absolutely, yeah.
Say
one more time.
What was the other one? All right, so Aliens.
It has to be. It's impossible. I mean, I think we're really special. You know, there's so much out there. You know, it's kind of. I mean, I think we're special, but I'm not. You gotta. There has to be something. Like, what's it out there for?
Yeah,
like
and
there's definitely a bunch of crap out there. And if they ever get here, pretty sure we're short. It's just, right.
The funny, like every time I ask this, I kind of throw out there like, look in the ocean. Like, yeah. We think out there. How much shit's in the ocean that we don't know about?
Exactly. Yeah.
And dolphins talk to each other.
We find a new fish sometimes. Like, oh, we never seen this type of fish before, and like you still discover new things. Like we can't even go all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, and then we're worried about outer space. Let's figure out what the fuck lives there first.
Atlantis.
Right? This is, you know, Aquaman, he came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
All right, DJ. Let's see. When you're gone, I mean, we all leave sometime. What do you want people to kind of remember, like, DJ Jackson as, like...
Ooh, that's one.
That's the last one, so I gotta go out with a bang, right?
I don't know. I mean, so just somebody, like, was a guy. I did right things, I did wrong things. But when I started jiu-jitsu, that changed. Like, along my journey of jiu-jitsu, all the wrong things started falling to the side, and I just kept focusing on being good, being positive. And it's one of the things, like, I like to partake in some things. But I have a kid at my gym now. His name is Kenny, and he wants to be a UFC champion. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. And then tell him I can do that and tell him he can't do that. But then he's not going to listen to me with nothing, you know? So you have to be better and just try to bring people up. And you just got to try, you know? And I'm just doing my best, working, trying to be better. I make mistakes, make mistakes, fix the mistake, keep being better.
Good. DJ, man. It's been awesome talking with you. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, super good, Kelly. I cannot believe you were right behind me when I don't even know who the Brazilian guy was. But after that, I went up to Pete. I'm like, man, what in the hell? He was like, man, I just told him that they were mine, and then he got carried away. I'm like, come on, Pete. I'm like, what get me into it? I'm like, I don't care, but I'm like, man, like if you want something, you come. If Pete would have came, if it was Pete O'Neill, whose headphones they belong to, who came up instead of that guy, and be like, give me my headphones back. I'm like,
right.
But you send him to get them? F you, dog. I mean, not F you, F that guy. Like
yeah.
Peter's still cool, you know? But it's like, you know, everybody wants to be a hero. I was like, what are you doing, man? like if you had a conversation with me, maybe that would have been different. But you ain't. No one is ever gonna come up to me. Give me those.
Yeah, he just rolled up like it was like you literally had jacked him for him.
Tournament, I would have hit him. No, he came entirely too close, entirely too aggressive. I have no idea who he is. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, and so I'm like, man, I don't even know what's happening. But what's going to happen in Jiu-Jitsu tournament? Are you going to hit me? Like, come on.
No, I remember it clear as day, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it was a wonky thing. And I felt so bad because another thing that I always, like I said, be good. And it's not for me, but for the kids on my team. Man, if DJ Jackson, Team Lord Irvin Black Belt, gets into a fight at the World Championship by the acai line, they will say every Team Lord Irvin person is just a hood rat, hoodlum. They don't do nothing but fight. They don't even respect jiu-jitsu. And so I have to live right for them. Like, I don't want to put any negativity onto those guys those kids work so hard. They go to school, they go to college, they graduate college. They work so hard to do so much. I don't want to put no negative light on those guys. Yeah. And so that's kind of like, I don't even like being in situations like that. Like, I hate being in situations like that. But I was that was a crazy one.
It was just crazy that I was there.
Yeah. Sure.
Because nobody else knows that story. Like, nobody's ever said anything. I was like, I know it. Because the other kid that I was with was like a jiu-jitsu freak. And I don't remember names. Like, that's just not my thing. Unless we've talked, I can't remember the fucking names. And
I don't either.
But he was like, I remember sitting watching matches. Yo, this is this guy. This is this guy. He knew all of Brazil. He knew everyone. And so I remember he said that when it happened. He's like, that was DJ. And I'm like, all right. And then it stuck in my head. But I remember that confrontation because it was so crazy, like, to happen there.
Yeah. At the acai line? Who started fighting at the acai line?
That's the happiest place in the tournament.
Like, what are you doing? Everybody here is coming. We all trying to wash away the tears of what happened out there. As long as you didn't go to the middle, they're like, go get some acai,
Right? That's why the line was so damn big.
Yeah, so it's like everyone who went not with a gold medal was in that line, just like, at least,
Hell yeah.
Problems.
Right? DJ, man, thank you so much. Social media or anything else that you want to shout out, definitely if anybody's training in Thailand when we get back there. I'll be back in Pattaya, so when I get back, I'm going to come through.
Yeah, I would love the more people, the merrier. More the merrier. We're going to work. We got those mats behind you over there. There's another jiu-jitsu room to that side, and we can open those doors, use both mats if there's too many people. I have no problem doing that, but I'm going to be starting my own subscription site soon, and jiu-jitsu and MMA based. And so once that starts rolling, maybe I'll come back on and do another podcast.
Yeah, definitely, man. You'll be always welcome. So this has been great. Like, usually, some of the people that you kind of have to draw shit out of, and it'll take a little while to get going. But it's been cool. So yeah, social media. What is it? Your Instagram and
DJ_Action Jackson.
Okay.
And the website, I bought the domain name last week. Will be Action Jackson Online. Don't go there now because there's nothing up. But
I'll put all the links and everything in the description, and I'll hit you up before I put this out.
For sure.
Are you guys still doing the open mat on Saturday, or was it Saturdays?
Yep.
Okay.
10-12.
Yeah.
There was a class before that, but I just decided to make the whole thing free because I want to bring more people in Pattaya or around Pattaya to just come to Jiu-Jitsu. It's free. Just come. It's an open mat. Like, I'll answer questions. Like, we can spar at the end. Yeah, that's
why I didn't train like any jiu-jitsu really while I was there because it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like, why the hell are them? Like, they have schools now that have like purple belts instructors, and they want like $200 a month or something. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Nah, I've paid that in the States, and I've trained with monsters, Yeah.
Our gym is about 4,000 about a month, and then if you do 3 months, it's 10,000 baht.
So 10,000 for 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
Is it unlimited classes, or how do you do that?
Unlimited.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Unlimited jiu-jitsu classes, and don't tell Premier Mr. Wong I said this. I usually allow those guys to come to the morning MMA classes too.
Gotcha.
I need those guys doing more work anyway. You know, if I'm the instructor, you know, I don't want to send my fighters out in a tournament and with, you know, if you can make it in the morning, yeah, come. The MMA guys need your help.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna and the guys come. They do what the Thai guys think is magic to them. And then now we got now the Thai are starting to come to do Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
we need that happening. So it's a beautiful thing.
Definitely. DJ, man, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Later.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Thank you once again for listening to the #1 combat sports podcast, the Fight Chase Muay Thai and MMA podcast. You can follow us on Fight Chase on all the social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And also, don't forget you can support us at any time going to the anchor.fm/FightChase, hit the support icon, and you can support us for as little as 99 cents a month. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And Kurt, don't say boom. Boom.
Lobs out moisture, seals in freshness. Good night.